Good morning and welcome everyone. We'd like to get started. And I'd like to take this opportunity first to thank everybody for being so thoughtful today to join us in remembering Professor M.B. Mathur, my respected daddy. And we do all cherish his life and have his blessings today. We were working on a tributary biography for Daddy for almost 2 years. It took that long because there was somebody else working on it. And earlier this year we were very fortunate to go to India, finalize the book, finalize the cover, all the details. And I never thought I'll get it published that quickly, but within 10 days we were able to get it finalized, get it printed. And once the few copies were printed, we tried to contact ex-Prime Minister Manmohan Singh ji. And I never expected Ali will be able to hear from him, but we heard from him. And he was so nice to give us some time at his residence. And in a small function, he released the book for us. So it was very kind of Manmohan Singh ji. And after that, we also had a function in Jaipur, which was arranged by one of his devoted students, Dr. Ramesh Arora. It was well attended, I understand. So we are actually celebrating it today. And as Chitra says, that today Daddy would have been 101 years old. So it's a special thing. In the biography, we have been able to get some books published and bring it here. And there is a copy for everybody to take at the end. The biography basically covers his vision, his philosophy, some background about him, his contributions in the field of economics, education, and public administration, 3 fields he commanded. And it also has contributions from his all family members. Even the grandchildren have written a page or 2 pages about Nanaji. So we are very thankful to God that this book has been published and we are really celebrating today. I would like to really have people who want to say something. It's a very informal function and we would like to have anybody who wants to come and say something, please let us know. Family members might say some things. So I would like to get started with first our well-regarded Dr. S.P. Agarwal to say a few words. He had known Daddy for a very long time. And please, Dr. Agarwal, please come.
It's okay.
I am Mrs. अग्रवाल। सबसे प्रथम मैं परिवार के सभी सदस्यों को, बच्चों को और सभी मित्रों को नमस्कार करती हूँ। बोलना तो सत्या अग्रवाल को ही था सब कुछ, लेकिन 4 साल पहले इन्हें कुछ हार्ट अटैक कई हुए, तो इसलिए इन्हें सुनाई थोड़ा कम देता है और मैं इनकी सहायता की वजह से खड़ी हो गई हूँ। इस पर थोड़ा सा मैं 1-2 मिनट के लिए पहले उनकी हिस्ट्री के टाइप में बताऊँगी माथुर साहब के, कि उन्होंने कितने बड़े बड़े महान काम किए हैं और हमारी उनसे कितनी पुरानी मित्रता रही है। आई होप एवरीबडी अंडरस्टैंड्स इन हिंदी। इस परिवार को इस परिवार को हम करीब 63 साल से जानते हैं। उस वक़्त हमारी परम मित्र सरोज रानी, जो इनकी माता जी थी तीनों लड़कियों की, वो भी जीवित थी। जयपुर से जब मेरी शादी होकर के मैं जयपुर आई, तभी से उनसे हमारा मिलना हुआ। ये रही थी करीब 52 की बात। आना जाना रहा, मित्रता रही। उसके बाद उनका यूनिवर्सिटी से संबंध रहा, साथ साथ मिलते थे, जुलते थे। फिर उसके बाद लेकिन सबसे ज़्यादा घनिष्ठता उस समय रही जबकि वो मेंबर ऑफ एजुकेशन कमीशन थी। उसमें प्रोफेसर नायक, माथुर साहब और इन्होंने तीनों ने मिलकर के उसका काम किया था। ये कहिए कि समय की बात है कि उसी समय के करीब करीब वो उस वक्त वेस्टर्न कोर्ट में रहते थे। और मुझे बड़े दुख के साथ कहना पड़ता है कि उसी समय मिसेस माथुर की सरोज रानी, जो जिनका नाम सरोज रानी था, उनका देहांत हुआ। और बाई चांस विलिंगटन हॉस्पिटल में मैं भी उनके साथ वहीं थी। उन्हें जिस वक्त उनसे अंतिम विदाई हो रही थी तो मुझे कहा गया कि आप इन लड़कियों के साथ रहिएगा। मैं ही इन तीनों लड़कियों के साथ थी और पूनम तो उस वक्त बच्चा थी, 5 साल की किसी है। जो कुछ ईश्वर को मंजूर था होना वही था। फिर उसके बाद जयपुर में भी उनसे काफ़ी मिलना जुलना तो रहता ही था। जब वो वाइस चांसलर थे यूनिवर्सिटी के, राजस्थान यूनिवर्सिटी के, तो हमारे 2 भतीजे भी वहीं थे। और हरदम उनसे मैं सुना करती थी कि माथुर साहब कितने योग्य हैं, कितने अच्छे हैं, क्या उनका व्यवहार रहता है। तो इस सब पर वो बोला करते थे बच्चे। और हम बड़े प्रभावित रहते थे कि हमारे मित्र कितने महान हैं, हमारे भगवान ने हमें उनसे मित्रता दी। सौभाग्य की बात है कि जब यूनाइटेड नेशन से रिटायर होकर यहाँ अमेरिका आए तो हमारा फिर मिलना हुआ, जिसका हमें पहले ध्यान भी नहीं था कि शायद वो माथुर साहब भी यहीं थे और हम भी यहीं थे। चित्रा से पास गए, मिलना हुआ। फिर एक बार माथुर साहब ने बहुत सोशल वर्क किया और समझिए कि उन्होंने हमेशा हर एक को प्रोत्साहित किया और इनका भी सोशल वर्क के रूप में ही किताबें लिखी गई हैं। और जब उनको गवर्नर शेफर ने अवार्ड दिया, उसी से थोड़े समय बाद इनको भी गवर्नर शेफर ने दिया। और गवर्नर शेफर उस वक्त आ नहीं सके तो माथुर साहब ने ही साइटेशन की कॉपी इन्हें जनता के सामने भेंट की थी। ये तो रही उनके। और दूसरे वो बहुत ही बड़े प्रभावशाली, और उनका व्यक्तित्व ऐसा था कि बड़े प्रेम भाव से और बड़े अच्छी तरह से और सबको बड़े समझा कर बोला कि उसी को याद करते हुए मैंने कुछ पंक्तियाँ लिखी हैं और मैं 1-2 मिनट में उसको समाप्त करती हूँ। हर आदमी जीवन में आगे बढ़ता है किसी कारण से। पढ़ाई लिखाई भी बहुत लोग करते हैं, लेकिन जो उनमें विशेषता थी वो सबको ये थी कि सब आगे बढ़ो, व्यवहार तुम्हारा अच्छा हो, सबके साथ मिलजुल कर रहो, और कभी तुम कोई तुम्हारी कहीं हार भी आ जाए तो तुम उससे घबराना नहीं। तो ये सब बातों को देखते हुए मैंने लिखा है, बचपन से ही होनहार और उदार चरित्र था उनका। बचपन से ही होनहार और उदार चरित्र था उनका। माता पिता, दादी बाबा, सगे संबंधी सभी के बने लाडले। सभी से उसके अपने सत्कर्मों और पढ़ाई लिखाई से, अपने ध्यान दीजिए सब, अपने सत्कर्मों और पढ़ाई लिखाई से सबके मन को मोह लिया। बड़े हुए ख्याति प्यारी, किया देश का नाम उज्जवल। ऊंचे ऊंचे पद संभाले, सच्चे सेवक कहलाए। पद्म भूषण की मिली उपाधि, चेहरे पर रही नम्रता। लोगों को बड़े बड़े वो भी मिलते हैं, लेकिन क्या है, उनमें अहंकार आने का डर रहता है। उन्हें कोई अहंकार नहीं था, उनके चेहरे पर नम्रता सदा बनी रही। विद्यार्थियों से कहा, तुम सदा करो पढ़ाई, आदर्श तुम्हारा हो ऊंचा, हार से कभी नहीं घबराना। सबको समान समझ, सदा सभी का साथ निभाना। सबको हमेशा इक्वल समझो लाइफ में। देश का मान बढ़ेगा तुमसे, सच्चे सपूत कहलाओगे। तो एक बार, अभी तो मैंने थोड़ा अर्थ कह के बताया, अगर हिंदी में किसी को नहीं समझ में आ रही तो मैं इंग्लिश में भी उसको एक्सप्लेन कर सकती हूँ, लेकिन मैं एक बार फिर आपको पढ़ देती हूँ। बचपन से ही होनहार और उदार चरित्र था उनका। माता पिता, दादी बाबा, सगे संबंधी सभी के बने लाडले। अपने सत्कर्मों और पढ़ाई लिखाई से सबके मन को मोह लिया। बड़े हुए, ख्याति पाई, किया देश का नाम उज्जवल। ऊंचे ऊंचे पद संभाले, सच्चे सेवक कहलाए। पद्म भूषण की मिली उपाधि, चेहरे पर रही नम्रता। विद्यार्थियों से कहा, तुम सदा करो पढ़ाई, आदर्श तुम्हारा हो ऊंचा, हार से कभी नहीं घबराना। सबको समान समझ, सदा सभी का साथ निभाना। देश का नाम बढ़ेगा तुमसे, सच्चे सपूत कहलाओगे। In case you want to ask some question or anything, because he is not able to hear, but he can understand and answer it. So I am standing here to write down.
Well, thanks to all of you, and particularly Chitra, Dinesh, and the family members of Professor Mathur. When Chitra gave me this book and I started reading it, my memories went back to 70 years when I was a student. When I was a student, I viewed him as a role model to follow in his footsteps. He was 10 years older to me, and I was inspiring that I will keep in touch with him always. And in 1947, when I got Government of India scholarship to come to America, then the government wrote to me that I should come to Delhi to complete all my paperwork. 1947. So I went to Delhi, and while the officer was telling that at such a young age the government has honored you, and I am happy that you are from Rajasthan, because earlier I had processed the papers of another scholar, and I said, who was that scholar? He said, M.V. Mathur. So I told him that, oh, I have always heard about him and I want to see him as early as possible. He said he is now in New York. I said, well, I am going to California and I will be busy with my studies, but when I come back, I will contact him. And God willing, my desire to contact him became a reality, because when we got married, her sister's husband, Ishwar Chandra Gupta, popularly known as Arjun, he said, oh, I was his classmate in Allahabad. So Ishwar Chandra Gupta then became the instrument, and he took us to his house in Jaipur. Well, after marriage, we both came to America, but when we went back, then I started working in the Manpower Research Institute. And in 1964, Government of India appointed a high-level education commission with Professor Mathur as one of the members. And because education and manpower are very much related, the government asked me to prepare the manpower-related chapters in consultation with 3 members of the commission: Professor Mathur, Dr. J.P. Nayak, and Trayuna Sen. This is 1964, and there I was busy discussing with these 3 top-level people, and there was an advisor to the commission from England, Professor Layard. So Professor Layard and Professor Mathur and me particularly were busy, and we had very fruitful discussions. And I say that that collaboration at the professional level contributed to my further achievement. And the memories of those days are not only fresh for me, but also to Professor Layard, London School of Economics. Because after a few years, I read in the papers that Professor Layard has become a member of the House of Lords in England. House of Lords. So he became a Lord Layard. So I sent him a congratulatory message. Immediately he replied and said that my stay in India and working with you and Professor Mathur are fresh in my memories. So he became famous in the universities internationally. And that was the professional side. But when we heard that his wife was having health problems, then we went to Western Court in Delhi to inquire about his wife's health, and to say that if we can help in any way, but he was a man of strong determination, and the family tragedy did not affect him in his work. That was 1964-65. And then 1969, Chitra and Dinesh got married in Delhi. And Professor invited us to attend that marriage. So I am happy that we are together now. That was 1969. Well, from 1970 onwards, I was offered United Nations assignments long term, and both of us were traveling to different countries, and we were out of India. In the meantime, our children, also high achievers like Professor Mathur's children, they settled in America. So in 1992, we also settled in Columbia, Maryland. And because I was interested in Ramayana, both of us, I found out that Chitra is conducting Ramayana programs. So we attended those functions, and there we met Rekha and Mohan Goyal and many others. And then of course, Chitra's house and our house are nearby, so the visits became frequent. We visited him, he visited us. That was a great occasion. 1964. No, 1994. 94. And in 1994, my first book on Bhagavad Gita was published. And the governor of Maryland honored me by sending governor's citation. And they told me that the presentation ceremony in Columbia will be conducted by Professor Mathur on behalf of the governor of Maryland, because governor knew Professor Mathur earlier and had honored him. So he said he is the right representative to give me that governor citation. 1994. And 1994 is memorable because Professor Mathur invited us to the Silver Jubilee anniversary celebration of Chitra and Dinesh. So 1994 was wonderful. And if we are alive, then 3 years from now, we will attend their Golden Jubilee celebrations. Well, this is the future. Anyway, then 1999, 5 books of mine, we both wrote 5 books, and they were honored by President of India also. And President and the Governor of Maryland already had honored him. And the university professors kept on saying, telephoning us, come and visit us, come and visit us. So our children and grandchildren said that we want to celebrate the completion of 5 books of yours, which is coinciding with my 75th birthday. We said keep it small, and mostly we would like to meet here senior citizens, because I was 75 at that time. And among the invitees, Professor Mathur was the senior most. So he said, you are 10 years younger to me, and I can make a forecast that you will write at least 10 more books. 1999. Well, then I read this, and I was lucky to read the grandchildren's, statement, inspiring advice of Professor Mathur. Not failure, but low aim is crime. This is repeated here, that low aim is a crime. So I showed it to this one. I mentioned it to my grandchildren now. They said yes. We heard this advice from us also. So we are on the same wavelength. Well, Professor Mathur is now in heaven, but as he had made a forecast, our 15th book, written jointly, was published recently. And I regard it as a result of his blessing. And I also hear from him, don't stop, because be a karma yogi. Karma yogi never stops. So we are writing our next book in the same spirit of karma yogi, which was exemplified for us by Professor Mathur. So with these sweet memories, I thank all of you for giving me this opportunity to express my heartfelt feelings about this great personality whose impact will be felt more and more as time passes by. And among the karma yogins of India, which I am writing about, the future writers will include his name, that the famous karma yogins of India have Professor Mathur in their list. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Agarwal. We are very fortunate to have you amongst us today. And what you said was bringing some of the memories and some before my time, but we really very much appreciate your detailed association and saying the kind words about Daddy. So again, thank you so much. Now I would request Jijadi, Dr. Shyam Mathur, to say a few words.
Good morning to everybody, and welcome to this function. And I'm very happy that you all have come to celebrate 100 years of my father, which I call him Daddy. I won't say much about his achievements, which you already know. A lot of people have talked about him, and you know about his achievements. He was known as a effective problem solver, a what should I call, problem solver, as well as a very good person, a very good teacher, and he loves his students and his family members. I'll call him as a person who was a family man, and he always took care of all the family people. He had a good job in United Nations. If he had stayed, he would have been in a very high position. But he quit his job because his father was retiring in India, Jaipur, so he decided to come back to India and took care of all his family members. I'd like more talk about his family. Like, I consider family like a tree. It has a roots, it has a stem, it has a fruit and flowers. So the life of the tree depends upon what are the roots of the family. I consider Professor Mathur, my daddy, and his wife, Sarojini Mathur, as the roots for this big tree, where you can see his fruits like Alka, Chitra, and Poonam. They are growing up. I can always look at Chitra, who sponsored all of us to come over here, and we came over here and settled here. This was Daddy's vision, that all his three sisters should come here and stay in this country together. We were in 3 different continents. One was in Africa, we were in South America, and Chitra was here. So finally, in 1985, we came over here. We were in Tennessee and Rajababu in Maryland, and we all finally got together in the same visit. Now, if you look at Poonam, how did he brought up? Poonam is a very small girl, a kid of six years old, and she lost her mother, and how he brought her up, and all her 3 daughters as fine persons which have all the achievements which they wanted to achieve, and they did. Alka is my better half, and I always loved her. I will still keep on loving. We have 2 sons, Chandan and Nadeep, and they are also good flowers. I love them, both of them. And fortunately, Professor Mathur, Daddy, has also seen his great-grandson, Gopika Vallabh, who is the son of Radhika and Chandan. They were not able to come over here, but they were missed this opportunity. Then we have Navdeep, who married Sona, and then Chitra has Chandni and Arush. You all of them know you, and also Raja Babu has Prati and Karishma. So all these are good fruits of the same tree which are grown up from Daddy and to fruit this up. So what I want to tell is that the tree is a family is like a tree, and the strength of the family is the trunk of the tree. If roots are good, trunk will be good, and the fruits are much better, and they all grow together. Now, Professor Mathur was one of them, or Daddy was one of them, who took care of the family. And they were the roots of this tree from which the nourishment came, which grew up like 3 daughters and their family. So that's what I want to tell about him. He was known as an educationist, planner, and all sorts of things. He achieved a lot of things throughout the world. But I still respect him, just like my father, and always love him. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jijaji. Raja Babu, you want to say something? Who else wants to talk today? Can you raise your hand?
No, Raja Babu will say it. The next Raja Babu.
Yeah, Raja Babu was able to attend the function which was held in his honor after the book was published in Jaipur. Raja Babu Pura both attended, so I would like to Raja Babu cover some things that the function, and you can see if you can.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just stay behind them.
Raja Babu will be coming in 1 minute, and one of my father's grandchild is Chandini and her husband Rajpal, and there are two little twin boys, Shlok and Anik. They are here for a very short time because Chandni has another commitment, but they are very happy to be here, so thank you. And Raja Babu, please come now.
Well, can you hear me? I'll just spend only a few minutes, and thank you very much for coming on this occasion. I would like to say that Professor Mathur, my father-in-law, Poonam's daddy, is still alive in all our family members, including the daughters and the grandchildren of the family. And therefore we are remembering him. He's still with us. Of course, the daughters wanted to celebrate this today, and we are having this celebration today. I want to remind that in the month of May we went to India, we went to Ladakh and Sikkim, and then we were told to go to Jaipur where another celebration was happening in honor of our father-in-law and daddy in Jaipur. And many big retired dignitaries came over there. Some of them were Padma Bhushan themselves and retired judges. One of the person's speech impressed me, and I cannot remember his name, who that was, but he told me that he was looking for a job in Jaipur, applying to some prestigious college there. And fortunately for him, he had met Professor Mathur, and he had a testimonial from him. So when he was interviewed, the people said that, you know, Mr. So-and-so, we would like to offer you the job, but you do not even have a PhD. And when they said this, he took out the testimonial from his pocket and gave it to those people who were interviewing. And naturally, he was offered the job. Afterwards, this same person was kind of joking, but he was saying that, I have told my wife that even when I die, please put this testimonial with me, so that when Jamraj interviews me, I'm going to show him that testimonial. So that was that. Now I'll just say a few things which are just some funny things. हिंदी में मैं बोलूँगा कि ताली दो हाथ से बजती है, and the grandchildren will vouch for me. They used to enjoy this. हमारे father, daddy एक हाथ से ताली बजाते थे. They used to all enjoy that. One other thing which I can say about him is, while we used to sit down and have some talks about India and other things and his life and all those things, one of the time I remember he told me that during the time when he was a student here in Harvard, he met the great Albert Einstein. He must have told you that. And he told my daddy, he told me this. I met Albert Einstein, and the great Einstein told me, what America is today, India was thousands of years ago. I don't think Albert Einstein meant literally what he said, but I think what he meant was the research and the books and the universities in those days, which later on were destroyed by so many invaders to India. Many of the libraries were burnt and everything, and then the British got some books and the French got some books, the Germans, they took it to, and then the research was done on those, and finally the atomic bomb and this and that, we know that. And I think maybe that's what he meant, but I just wanted to remind that. He met the great Einstein. Is there anything else I should remind? Yes. As Chitraji said, that, oh no, Shyam Bihari ji said, ki the roots and the stem and the flowers and the fruits. So one day I was trying to pluck one fruit, and the fruit caught me. That's Poonam. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Raja.
Poonam will come.
Poonam, you want to say a few words? Please come.
I would like to welcome all the friends and family who have come to join the celebration of my father's 101 birthday. I loved my father. I have some good childhood memories with my father. I lost my mother when I was 5 years of age. As memories go back, I remember telling him short stories about historical and mythological figures of Indian history. For example, in history, he told me the stories about Ahilya Bai, Jhansi ki Rani, Bhagat Singh, and Chandrasekhar Azad. And mythological figures like Ramayana, he told me about Ram and Sita, Prahlad, and Krishna. My father was a man of principle and had a very disciplined life. He was a great reader and he loved books. His famous motto was already mentioned by Mr. Agarwal, not failure, but low aim is crime, which could inspire anybody. He never let me feel the vacuum of my mother. These memories and many other memories will make me smile always. Happy birthday, Papa. I love you today and always.
Thank you so much, Poonam.
Pratik. Pratik.
Pratik,
Okay.
want to say something about Nanaji?
Yes.
So I'm the youngest grandson of Nanaji. And so because I was the youngest, a lot of my memories of him were from my childhood. Memories like from the mid-1990s, I would come home from school and I would ask Mom, oh, where's Nanaji? He would stay with us for a few months. And Mom would say, oh, he's probably at the library. The library was Nanaji's favorite hangout place, his source for news. And so this one time Nanaji came back home in the evening. And I just I was a little frustrated, and I asked him, Nanaji, you're always at the library. Do you have any friends? I asked him that. And his response was, books are my friends. Books are my friends. And so, it was just conversations like that I had with Nanaji. I would ask him silly questions, and his responses were, always left a lasting impression on me. And so, while I do cherish the memories I have of Nanaji from my childhood, I also, at the same time, I wish that I was a little bit older, so I could have more intellectual conversations with him. Most of my memories were just like silly questions, and so when I was in the middle of my third year in college, Nanaji passed away, unfortunately, and I was so busy in school I didn't really get a chance to connect with him as much as I would like to. And when I finally graduated college in 2005, you get a little bit of breathing room, and you can kind of start thinking about what you want to do with life and your future. And in 2006, I started to gain some interest in Buddhism. And I started reading some books about Buddhism, like Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Path, and I was very, very curious about this. And in fact, I was so curious that in 2011, I found myself at a Buddhist monastery in Thailand, and I spent 4 weeks there. And it was a very interesting experience by itself. I'm not going to talk about that today, but in those 4 weeks, I got a chance to really observe Buddhist monks and, to follow their schedule and learn about them. And I noticed that they would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, they would meditate for 2 hours, they would, when they would eat their meals at a certain time, they would only eat just as much as they needed to, and they would eat very slowly. And if you spoke to a monk, they would speak to you very calmly, respectfully, thoughtfully. And as I thought more about this, I realized that Nanaji was just like them, except the only difference was the monks had a shaved head and they wore an orange robe. And so, in Buddhism, they have this thing called the Eightfold Path. It's basically these 8 qualities. And of course, I'm going to forget one of them now, but it's like right mindfulness, right effort, right conduct, right concentration, right action, right view, right likelihood. And so, as I was in the monastery and I was reading about these 8 qualities, and as I started to learn more about them, I realized it's very possible that Nanaji had all 8 qualities. So in Buddhism, they say if you have all these 8 qualities, you've essentially reached, or you've attained a state of mind that's liberated. And, so in those 4 weeks that I was there, I was really contemplating Nanaji a lot. So this was actually one of the reasons why I decided to leave the monastery, because I realized that it is possible to achieve these 8 qualities without becoming a monk. And that was actually one of the reasons why I left the monastery after 4 weeks. So it brings us here to today. We have this book now with all these family memories and achievements of Nanaji. And this book, for me personally, it will serve as a guide to how to live my life, and it will also serve as a constant reminder of who Nanaji was and what his principles were. And I really have to thank Masaji here for taking the lead in getting everyone to contribute. And I have to thank the family also for offering such awesome memories about Nanaji and unique perspectives, and everyone here who's come to support the book release. So thank you all very much.